Two, three, go. Welcome to the Lead podcast.
Hi everyone, my name is Faith.
My name is Naomi.
And I'm Blessing.
And we are the girlies on the Lead podcast today. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.
And share.
And share on all platforms, Spotify, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. So today, my name is Faith and I am, how old am I? 20 years old. I'm a college student in DCU and I'm also a lash technician, a qualified lash technician. That's it?
I'm Blessing. I am 20 years of age and I am a final year nursing student in Trinity College, Dublin. Yeah, that's me so far. Thank God.
And I'm Naomi. I just recently graduated. I'm a company secretary, aspiring lawyer. So yeah.
And what else?
Aspiring lawyer.
No, after that?
Barrister.
No.
What?
You're a makeup artist. In the works.
In the works.
Yeah, in the works. Yeah.
Not officially.
But soon come.
She is a makeup artist. She does people's makeup. Anyway, the lead, what we are. So LEAD stands for Ladies Experiencing All-Round Development. And we're here to just help all our girls, all our ladies, all our women, and even men sometimes, every aspect of their lives, in their careers, in their education, in their charity works, in their relationship with God, or in their religion as well. What else? We have different stuff we do. So we usually do Instagram lives where it'll be usually one of us or a guest speaker talking about the topic of the day. The last one we did was what was it again?
College to career.
The college to career talk, which was very good, and we got a good response from that. And then we also have events, in-person events, which is usually like charity events where we raise funds for our charity in Nigeria for girls just to pay for their colleges or pay for their secondary school experience. And also, we also have events where we do like brunches or talks and have guest speakers just to enlighten us and to move us forward as ladies and empower us. So we're going to be talking about how the definition of women has changed from, let's say, our parents' generation to our generation as well, or even let's go to our grandparents' generation. As you know, nowadays, women, we go to college, we work, and we're still the caretakers at home taking care of the children. We're still, what is it? Oh my God, I'm starting today. we're still, mainly in charge of the roles at home. Whereas our grandparents, usually the women usually just stayed at home. They didn't go to college and stuff. So to you guys, what does it mean for you that the definition of women has changed? Why are you laughing?
There's a spider on me.
What is going on?
It's spider season currently, guys. Oh God. Okay, women. You said the definition of women, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd say before, you said our grandparents' generation.
Yeah.
Obviously, it depends on the individual or the perspective. I'd say before they're just seen as a sort of body, as in like just a body to, procreate, a body that's raised to, basically just like procreators and child raisers in a sense. Obviously, like you do have your few stories there of like actual like true love and really good compatibility, but I'd say that was then, but obviously we've been evolving, we've been changing, women have been breaking the status quo, the standards, the stigmas, all of that. And now, like, woman is woman, plural, whatever. It's what the individual makes it, because we have so much in our disposal in this generation that, whatever you decide you want to be as a woman, that's who you are, whatever you want to do, kind of vibe. So, yeah, that's what I'd say.
What about you, Naomi? Do you think the definition of woman has changed?
I feel like a woman... Back then, they were very industrious. I really feel like they had such a pivotal role to play in the household. And I feel like men respected them a lot for that. Even though might disagree. But no, because I feel like men did appreciate it back then. Talk about back then specifically. But
What do they appreciate exactly?
I feel like they could acknowledge the fact that, my wife stayed home all day and took care of the family and the house. Because most of them were married back then. And the marriages were lasting back then. And I feel like they just knew how to balance it. So the man would go out obviously all day to get money and to work, while the woman is taking care of the house and like of the children as well. So that's when I'm like, okay, like there's some sort of balance. Like they didn't have the resources that we have now. They didn't have nannies really back then. Like unless you're like seriously rich and like you have like thousands of people, you live in a castle and whatnot, then obviously that's a different case. But if you're talking about like a normal average person like me, back then you can't barely afford like a nanny or anything like that.
Nowadays, people can't barely afford daycare.
Yeah, but you have a lot more people to help you. I feel like back then there was not really women empowerment like that compared to today, if that makes sense. So like I can call you a blessing. Let's say if I have a child, I'm like, oh, can you please mind my child for me? But I feel like back then I don't think it would have been that easy to get someone to carry your load for you, if that makes sense.
I kind of disagree, because I feel like back then the extended family was valued a lot. So aunties and uncles and cousins and stuff used to always stay, like the families were either lived close to each other or they lived in in the same house. Okay, let's look at Irish people, for example. A lot of them grew up around like on a farm or something very close to each other. But nowadays people have, majority of people are either like migrated or something to other countries. So you're not close, like the extended family is not as appreciated as much. It's more like the nuclear family. Do you get me? So like nowadays I feel like it's more you're relying on your close family to be minding your
I think
children or something.
Yeah, but that also boils down to the fact of the kind of relationships we have with our extended family as well. So like then, I feel like they were a lot more forgiving in a sense. That's why they were like kind of a huge bunch. But in this generation, we're not as forgiving as back then. So like, we have a lot of boundaries of like, okay, I'm not going to tolerate this from this person, and that's that. I don't need you. And that's the mentality that this generation kind of has, that we're so quick to drop people off. But I feel like back then, you could have just dropped people off. But because they knew that, they didn't kind of branch out the way this generation branches out, if that makes sense, with people. So that's why I feel like there's a bit of like, kind of thingy with there.
Like you feel like it's kind of like a divide? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, like we're very different. Like women in this generation and back in those days were very, very different. I feel like back then women didn't really know who they were, like what they truly like about themselves in terms of like hobbies and like stuff like that. Because majorly what they knew was, okay, children, marriage, household, pretty much. But not like, oh, if like I'm into makeup. Well, I don't know if back then they did makeup artists or whatnot. But it's like stuff like that, makeup or lashes.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, or sewing or cooking. Like people did that, but it wasn't out of, they had to do it because they had to earn a living. Mostly it was for people that were kind of poor, that were sewing for people. But in this generation, we sew not necessarily because we're poor, but because we enjoy it, if that makes sense. And we want to obviously make a living as well out of it as a side hustle.
And would you say it was like another question would be, would you say it was feminism that like brought us to this place, especially the feminists back there who fought for women's right to vote, who fought for women to be in higher places in the government or stuff like that? Would you say because of women like that, that's why we're able to have CEOs now, like female CEOs, like now there's Oprah and stuff who are like female billionaires, but at the same time it's still like the percentage is still less. Do you understand what I'm saying?
As in, what do you mean, like the percentage is so less? As in,
Like, I mean, like, feminism, like, would you say feminism, like, itself has brought us to where we are, or is it just that women, you know, just
I think
started
it makes
working
it
harder?
both. Because obviously, like, you see all the the women of old and the suffragettes who, like, you know, made it their life's mission to march for women's rights or to do stuff for women's rights. And obviously, it also came a time where women just stopped caring about the outside world, because when you finally get that, when that clicks in your mind that, oh, actually I can live for myself, I am a person before, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, that kind of thing, I can do stuff that I enjoy, then it's like, oh, actually I don't need someone to fulfill me or to make me who I am. Like, by myself I am whole. So I say, like, it's a mix of stuff. And obviously, as they see women around doing it, because obviously if you see back then, women were married by a certain age or didn't have children, they were like shunned, or they were like, oh, don't go by this, or like, especially like to the young single women, they'd be like, oh, don't go by this unmarried they had one name for them, I can't remember, but don't go by this unmarried person. And I was like, you'll get whatever she has. But then people started saying that, oh, actually it's not because she doesn't, nobody wants her, it's because that she chose this life for herself. So if she chose this life for herself, damn the consequences, damn whatever my family thinks or what kind. And then it's just that, because even as the feminists, as a feminist, have done stuff for us and marched for us, you can't, it won't apply to you unless it clicks in your mind, that kind of thing. Like, as you know, someone might be telling you what to do, it might be going out in one ear, but if you're not aware of it, then it's not really going to matter to you, that kind of thing. So I say it's a mix of both.
Yeah. What about you, Naomi?
I don't think so. I feel like it's more of women going into the calling and just trying to branch out and not really being in a box, if say so. Because feminism is focusing on men and women at the same level. And I genuinely feel like men and women are not on the same level. And like, for me, it's like, if you're gonna say, okay, men and women are on the same level and equality on all levels, it's like, so whatever a man brings to the table, you gotta bring as well. But then you also expect a man to come and provide for you, to do this for you, to do that for you, and you just be a housewife. That's not equality. It's just not it. Because I feel like as a woman, you have so many things. Obviously, I'm not against housewife. If you want to be a housewife, cool, do what you want to do. But I'm just saying that you can't call yourself a feminist, but you still expect more. Like,
So you can't call yourself a feminist if you expect men to be fulfilling the traditional roles.
it's not even like the traditional, just bring more to the table than you do.
Okay.
It doesn't make sense, because feminism is basically saying that men and women are on the same level.
Well, I think in that sense, the fact that they can choose to stay a housewife and not work, that's in a sort of sense.
That's yeah.
Because, you know, obviously, like, back then, you didn't have a choice to be working. You didn't have if you were a teacher, once you got married, you were not allowed to teach anymore. You're allowed to do your job.
Like, it was against the law.
Yeah, but nowadays, since we have the choice to be as equal as men, that's in a sort of sense feminism.
I think that ties into what Blessing was saying, that feminism brings us to a certain level. Yeah. And then after that, it's based on like the woman herself. If she wants to divert into something else.
Yeah, you have to use feminism as like one of the rungs in the ladder to climb up. But feminism isn't the ladder itself, if that makes sense. But yeah.
And I just feel like women are more independent now. Like, they don't rely on men as well. Like, they, you know, you go out for yourself, you go work for yourself, you do all of that. Because back then, before, you know, it was a man that had to provide. So if something did happen, or like you was cheating on you or something, you're gonna have to stay because you have nothing for your own self. But now women they go to college. Like, it's not a taboo for a girl to go to college. Do you get me? She go get an education, or she goes to learn a trade or skill for her to be her own her own personal boss or something. So I feel like feminism brought us up to that point, because if we never had the chance to vote, if we never had the chance to, if we never had the people who were, you know, fighting for us to vote and stuff, we would even have the voice or the choice to be saying, okay, let's go to college, or let's what's called it, like, I don't want to be a housewife or something. Do you get me? That's what I mean with the women empowerment. What else?
So, anyways, while she's getting her notes up, let us know in the whatever comments you're listening to or whatever, or even DM us what your kind of, what your definition of woman is. Just let us know what you think it is, or you think it's the world that shaped it, or it's something that you have to find for yourself. Just
Like, how do you find it being a woman in this generation?
yeah.
Do you feel like, do you guys have pressure to perform to a certain level as a woman in this generation?
I think we should talk about that. Like, we say the question again so we're clear.
So, as a woman in this generation, do you feel like this pressure to perform at a certain level, to be at a certain level? Like, let's say you had to make a source of money, or you had to have a certain lifestyle that, you know, you need to meet because of society and the generation that we're in. Like, do you feel that pressure as a woman, or do you just feel like I go according to how I feel?
I say, in honesty, yes. I do see, like, I do feel pressure because, how would I say? I would say social media is a big aspect to it. Because if I go on TikTok now and I scroll a few pages, I'm going to see one successful 22-year-old who, you know, started a business when she was young or something. And, you know, the lifestyle she's displaying is the lifestyle that most people want to acquire at their age. And, like, we have to realize that some of our parents have not even reached the level of success they want to be, and they're 50-something or whatever. I feel like the pressure for women nowadays is to be successful now, like to be successful at 22, 23 or something, to have a nice car or a nice house or something, or doing all these extravagant trips, knowing that half of these rich people, they didn't make it till they were, you know, in their later ages and stuff. I will say that's where the pressure will come from for girls. And also there's the pressure of the male gaze as well. You know, a lot of women are changing their bodies, or a lot of women are changing their, you know, their face or the way they act, or they're changing themselves just to appease to a man. But sometimes it's just so they can appease to a man that would bring them to that, how do I say it, that level that they're seeing their friends live, if that makes sense.
I'd say it's like individual, because you said your question is like your question is about like pressure.
Yeah.
So I'd say obviously some people are content with, like, not say living paycheck to paycheck, but they're content with not having to like hustle and work and do side businesses and stuff.
But do you feel that pressure on yourself?
Oh, like me personally?
Yeah.
I say yeah, because obviously I'm just like, I'm the kind of girl that
You like nice
money
things.
doesn't. No, like obviously I like nice things, but like money doesn't faze me. Like if I'm sick, or if I'm just like, I just need a day for myself, I'm not gonna go into work and force myself to go because I need the money. Obviously I need the money, but money will come later. I'm not gonna kill myself just to earn money. Like it took me a while to get in that phase because I always felt so guilty about calling in sick or whatever. But like, if you need a day for yourself, you need a day for yourself. If you don't want to go, you don't want to go. That's fine. So I say, yeah, pressure in a way to be comfortable, but not to be like sky high, rich. But that's where I'm at right now. Who knows? My mind might change in like a few years, or like next month. But yeah, not pressure per se, but I feel, because also it depends, because obviously, you know, comparison is a thief of comparison is a thief of joy, isn't it? Yeah. So obviously, when people are comparing themselves, you can compare yourself and you can motivate yourself and encourage yourself. But people just tend to compare themselves so that they can be like, oh, I want to be better than this, because obviously, why does she have to be the best one? I can be better too. Instead of, you can be like, oh, this same girl in my position did the same thing. If she can do that, then I can do that too. Let me reach out to her and see if she has any things for me to help myself. But like, you know, because women in these days, sometimes we see ourselves as competitions, and we're supposed to see ourselves as, you know, helpers, and because we're actually all in this together at the end of the day. So
Yeah, that reminds me of something. So I was speaking to somebody like a few weeks ago. I was just talking about like growing up. If you don't know, we're from Ireland, Dublin. So growing up in Ireland, there's like a culture, especially for girls, like you have to have certain things. I don't know if like you guys experienced that, but like, you know, like when Superstars is out, everybody's like, you gotta get that. Like you gotta, even how it is like.
There's a huge culture of following trends.
Yeah. But even like, because we're so young, and even though they were kind of expensive, like, Mom, I need this thing die. And it's like, obviously going through that phase, like I feel like it does impact us as women, and it's like having to meet up certain standards, or even if you're going out in parties, you have to have human hair, or the wig has to be laid. Like you can't just come looking anyhow because there's an automatic standard that is set up already, and it's like you were just saying that how it made us, like it kind of negatively impacted us as an adults now, because it's like now you have to kind of get out of that zone of like thinking that I'm going to live life according to the way I want to live it and make myself happy. If I don't like something, I don't like it. If I like a shoe, I'm going to wear it because I like it, not whether it's the trend. You know what I mean? Like it's just
I get what you're saying, because coming off what you're saying here, like a lot of girls, let's say they go on a holiday or something, there's the same gold clutch that they will wear or something, or the like I'm just using
you trying shade.
I'm just using like I'm not trying shade. I'm just using that as like an example where like when we were younger, everyone had to have like especially that I remember that superstar phase. Everyone had to have that, but like now it's like you see something. Shade. The Molly May jacket is a big example. Like if you walk around, I'm telling you every day, you see at least one girl with the same Molly May jacket. But I'm just saying, like, if we didn't confront to these pressures and stuff, like you do see the other type of girls that they're their own self, they're their own style or something, because everyone's kind of uniform now because of the pressure that social media are putting on us. You're not really seeing as much individuality as you used to see.
And like, are you finished?
Yeah.
Oh, and at the end of the day, I feel like it just all boils down to acceptance, because obviously, if you go back to when we were younger, you'd want to buy that kind of thing because everyone else was wearing it and they're friends all together, and you're by yourself and like you're €9 penny sneakers, no shades, all of the pennies, Primark, love, but sponsors. But obviously, like you want to be accepted, you want to be that. So obviously, as you grow up thinking that kind of mentality, it's going to take a while for you to heal from that and like break yourself from those kind of bonds, because obviously if you want to be accepted, you're going to do anything that it takes, including if it takes putting yourself into debt, putting yourself into crazy situations because you want to be accepted. But you just have to, like, all just boils down to be a woman. It just all boils down to being an individual, because like no one person is the same. Variety is the spice of life. You can't even twins, like fraternal twins, they're not the same. They're their own person. So you just have to accept yourself, and if others accept you, and if they don't, that's fine. Just keep on moving with your life and love yourself. Simple.
Okay. Yeah. I think that brings us to the end of this episode.
Yeah, that was a heavy one.
That was such a heavy one. I thought we were gonna go lighthearted with it. But that was very good. I think that also brings us to like the conversations we have as a team with our lead group and stuff, and like what we want to see develop other girls or other women out there. Because when I was younger, this lead leads group has helped me a lot because of the conversations I'm having with different women and different walks of life as well. So we just hope and pray that as you listen to this podcast, something will sink in. Okay.
Amen.
Okay, that's the end of this. Thank you guys.
Comment, share, subscribe, tell your friends, tell everyone.
Tell a friend.
Yeah, and if you have any questions or any dilemmas, don't hesitate to put it down.
Send them to our email. What's our email?
First of all, why would you send it to the email?
No, send the dilemmas to the email or to the Instagram page.
Yeah, that's that.
But if you don't have Instagram, our
days.
Email is TheLeadLeague@gmail.com.
Yeah.
You forgot the email.
See guys.
That's not the email.
Is it not?
So okay, just follow our page on Instagram.
Anyway, you see on the screen
on Instagram.
Or on the description bar below.
Point. You want to point.
Adios.
Point to the correct.
Genius.